Hello and welcome to the Art of Badassery Podcast. I'm Jenn Cassetta, your Chief Badassery Officer. And today it's just you and I, and we're going to have a little chat about how to end your year on a powerful note, no matter what happened in this past year. And also, I'll walk you through a little exercise, how I like to end my year and start my goal setting for next year. So if you're listening to this at the end of 2023, we're going to walk into the future, start kind of setting up what you want to accomplish in the following year. But before we do that, this is episode 8, the final episode of season 1 of the Art of Badassery podcast. So if you're listening, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being with me this whole season. And I'd like to recap some of the lessons that we all learned from all of my amazing guests that I'm so grateful for, and some solo ones too. So quickly, episode 1 was a solo episode. I was the guest. I interviewed myself, and it was really about the 7 steps to unleashing your inner badass. Essentially, it's a short recap of my book, The Art of Badassery, Unleash Your Mojo with Wisdom of the Dojo. And I walk you from white belt to black belt in badassery. It's super fun and short if you need a boost of badassery in your life. Episode 2 was with Jamie Fury Higgins, who wrote a book called Bully Market. It's fascinating. I loved reading her book and interviewing her about her time on Wall Street and essentially how she dealt with crazy toxic work culture and crazy toxic misogyny, and has now come through it all and now coaches other women on the other side of that so they can avoid situations like that, and they'll know what to do with. Her biggest takeaway for all of us was to get yourself in a group outside of your work community. So a professional organization and some type of association where you can network with other people in your industry, but not that you actually work with in the same business or organization. So try that on. I think it's a great tip so you can get feedback on your life and your career and what's going on. Episode 3 was Not Today, Mother, with Kelly Herron Lieberman. It was a serious story of survival. Kelly walks us through the entire story of when she was attacked, physically assaulted in a park up in Seattle a few years back, and how she has since had to seriously heal from that. And her biggest takeaway for us is really to get yourself trained in self-defense, always practice situational awareness, and use your voice in a powerful way. Thank you, Kelly, for sharing that story and your battle cry with all of us. Episode 4 was with my friend, Cara Richardson Whiteley. We talked about conquering mountains and promoting body positivity. Cara has an amazing story of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro once, twice, 3 times, almost. The story is really interesting, so make sure you listen in. And my biggest takeaway from her episode was this, that not only can we all learn to love, accept, and really just honor our bodies for everything they do for us, we can also take our biggest struggles and turn them into a for-profit business. So go Cara on that. I'm so pumped for her, how she now consults for some of the biggest names in retail on how to connect with the plus size audience. I'm cheering you on in next year and beyond. Episode 5 was an amazing interview with my other friend, Tanya Memi, a TV host of Sell This House. She tells her story about how she hit rock bottom, almost lost her entire career in Hollywood, but has since transformed, went on a very unexpected healing journey. I'll save the details for the episode if you haven't listened, and how she's come out the other side of it, making an ultimate comeback and transforming herself and her career into a transformational coach for others. Definition of badassery right there. And number 6 episode was another solo episode with yours truly about rejection, how rejection really sucks. But I give you 3 really strong exercises or ways that I deal with rejection and help my clients get out of the rejection downward spiral, that spiral of doubt and low self-esteem, and where it just knocks you down. We're going to reverse that spiral with 3 easy steps. So make sure you listen to that. And almost last but not least, number 7 was with the fabulous, the mighty, and tiny Lisa Bilyeu. She is seriously a powerhouse. She tells her story about how she built radical confidence, going from an insecure housewife to a powerhouse entrepreneur. Her and her husband, Tom, built and sold their company, Quest Nutrition, for $1 billion in just 5 years. And she walks us through some of those extremely important lessons on prioritizing your health through that journey, as well as keeping emotional sobriety as you go through the ups and downs of life. So tune in for that if you missed it. So here we are, once again, episode 8, the final episode of season 1. And we're going to end the year powerfully. So first of all, I just want to congratulate you. That's right. Congratulations for making it to the end of another year. Not everybody does. And congratulations on achieving what you achieved and overcoming lots of obstacles and challenges, because not everyone does. And last, congratulations on shining your light all through this year on some of the darkest corners of the world, because not everyone does. But since you are a member of this Badassery Club, I know you, and I know that you are always striving for better, for bettering yourself, for bettering your health, your wealth, your career, your relationships, your purpose. You are just here to strive to be a better human on this planet. I know you are. So even if you didn't reach all your goals this year, even if you had some major screw-ups, challenges, failures, obstacles, disappointments, even if you felt like your year has been a total dumpster fire, we could still end it in a positive way. How does that sound? If it sounds good, why don't you take out a piece of paper and a pen, maybe a journal if you have one. And look, if you're out walking or running or even driving, you could still listen to this exercise and partake in your mind without closing your eyes or doing anything that would disrupt you from what you need to focus on right now, whether it's driving or walking or running. So just pay attention to the road, pay attention to your surroundings, and listen in on this quick exercise. So I want you to take a big, deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Let it out. Awesome. And I want you to just kind of look back at the last 12 months. And right now, just kind of remember or take note of all those challenges that you were through, that happened, the challenges, the failures, the disappointments, all of it. I want you to just take note, just remember what they were. And if you have a pen and paper out, jot them down. If you're just thinking about it, just point them out as you start to go backwards in time from Q4, right? October, November, and December. Q3, was there any major obstacles that you were facing in the third quarter of the year? How about Q2 and Q1? Keep going backwards, and just pick out all of those moments, pick out all of those challenges, and just jot them down or take note in your mind. And now from there, okay, even as horrible as they may have been in the moment, I want you to check in right now and say, well, I made it through, yes? And maybe you can even acknowledge those challenges that you've been through by giving yourself a pat on the back and saying, good job, Jen. Good job, you, for getting through them. Maybe you're still facing it right now, and that's okay, because I bet you're still ahead of the place where they first happened to you, or you just found out about them. The purpose of this exercise is to show you how far you've come. Now, we can go a little bit deeper. And for each one of those challenges, I want you to think of a secret weapon that you've developed because of those challenges. Now, what I refer to as secret weapons is what you may think of as a superpower, values, inherent strengths, inner strengths that we have developed because of the challenges, because of the failures that we've been through. I use the metaphor of secret weapons in my book, The Art of Badassery, because it all has to do with the wisdom of the dojo, right? So in the dojo, when I was first starting out, I would look up to all of these amazing black belts that were in my school, especially all the fierce women. They were so awesome to watch. And I started to realize that each one had their own little secret weapon. Maybe it was Holly's sword form, or maybe it was Lena's kick or knockout punch, whatever it was for that person. I started to realize that they only have this secret weapon because of the practice of using it over and over and over again, right? A muscle only gets stronger by getting it broken down in the first place. Every time you do a bicep curl or a leg press, you are ripping those little fibers in your muscle only to then grow back stronger. Well, the same is on the mat. Every time we get knocked down, we get back up internally stronger, right? Because now we build resilience. We know what to look out for. We can tap into our intuition just a little bit more each time. That same dojo wisdom applies to our lives. Every failure you have faced, I'm not saying it's great or we should be happy about them, but I promise you that you've developed some type of inner strength because of it. So start right now to look at your list, or think about that list that I just had you remember, and identify what type of inner strength you've developed because of it. So some examples can sound like this. Well, I know for sure that after losing my dad in 2016, it was one of the most awful, not one of, probably the most awful thing that has happened to me. I look back and of course I wish it could be different, but it can't be. So there's no point in wishing the past to be different. There's nothing I can do to bring him back, but what I can do is acknowledge myself for getting through that pain. It's still painful, but obviously not as strong as it used to be. I can also look back and say, hey, you know what? One of the secret weapons that I definitely have gained from going through that process was empathy. Empathy for others going through grief in a way that I didn't have before. So was I cold before all of this happened? Maybe, maybe not. I just couldn't sit with people in their grief the way I can now. I can get down with them. I can hunker down and just sit with their grief and be okay with it without having to try and fix it or do something so nice to make them more happy or whatever it is. That's really where true empathy lies, right? Is getting down and hunkering down with people wherever they're at. So for me, that was pretty eye-opening. I can look back on that really, really sad time in my life and recognize that I've gained some other things too, probably like resilience as well. So what are some of the secret weapons that you now have in your own life? Is it empathy? Is it resilience? Is it grit, grace, faith, right? Leadership skills, humbleness? As the words come to you, write them down. You probably have way more than just one secret weapon. But the idea of this exercise is to help you take that secret weapon and take it into the next year so you know that you have these secret weapons going forward. Perseverance and patience, those are two big ones of mine as well. And then write them down somewhere. I like to write them down on a Post-it note where I keep it in my desk. So when I am going through the next hard challenge, because life is going to continue to test us, I can remember, well, look, I gained this amazing secret weapon last time, so I have it going forward. Now, I hope you have at least 3 to 5 secret weapons that you've identified. Okay? Hold on to those. Remember them. Keep them in your heart at all times. And now we're going to start to think about setting up your next year, right? So close that out. I just want you to symbolically, you can put your hands together. You can close your eyes. Again, if you're not driving, put your hand on your heart, whatever feels good. And I want you to just thank the last year. Accept it, let it go. All of those trials and tribulations, everything that you just listed on that list, accept and let go and say goodbye. Because now it's time to create the new year, a new powerful year, a year for you to create the life you want to be living. So how do we start doing that? Well, you may be someone that already has your goals written out or not, and that's okay too. I haven't written them all out yet, but I start working on it in December because I like to walk into the year with a clear vision. So how I start the process in today's episode, like I said, we're just going to start the process. And then I'm going to invite you to do something with me in January where we can really get into it. Okay. I'll tell you about that in a few. But first, let's get into this exercise. We're going to do a little bit of time travel. Okay. Sound fun? I think it is. For this exercise, I do recommend if you're driving or walking or outside or whatever, hit pause and come back to this when you are seated, because it's something you definitely want to be present for, and also to have your pen and paper ready when you're done, when you come out of it. Okay. So we're going to time travel. So I'm going to walk you through this exercise and we're going to come back and we're going to do some writing. Okay. Ready? Take a big deep breath. Exhale. And I would ask you to close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to envision a timeline in front of you. And that timeline is your timeline on this earth, from your very first day on this planet all the way out into the future. We never put a timestamp on that. It's going to be a very long, long timeline. And from here, with your eyes closed and really present, I'm going to ask you to float above that timeline. Right? Float above it and start to look down at that timeline, your timeline. And what we're going to do is we're going to float forward into the future. We're going to float forward into 2024 and keep going, going, going until you get to December 31st, 2024, or basically a year from now, plus, plus. All right, so there you are, you're looking down, and then you're going to come back into your body, float down onto the timeline in December 31st, 2024. And I want you to start to observe. Where are you in the world? Take a look around. Where are you? Inside, outside? Start to really notice and take it in. Where the setting is, what's around. Are you sitting, standing, moving your body? Who are you with? Right? Who's there to help you bring in the new year and end this year on a positive note? How do you feel in your body? Really check in right now and check in. How is your body feeling these days? How's your energy? How's your skin? How's your muscle tone? How are you feeling in your body? How much love and respect and acceptance do you have for your body right now? Really take that in with a big inhale, big exhale. Keep going. And now I want you, as you're sitting where you're sitting or standing or moving, now start to imagine the previous year and start to think about and recall all of the things that you've accomplished or done in that previous year. Where did you travel to? What accomplishments have you made in your work? What relationships have strengthened? What relationships are new? What relationships really, really stood out for you this past year? Who was there for you, supporting you, cheering you on as you carried on in your life? How's your wealth and finances? Can you take a look at your bank statement, pull it up and look at the numbers? What are they like? And better yet, how does that feel to you right now? Are there any other major changes that have been made in this past year? Have you moved locations or house or bought a house or even bought some new toys for yourself? Was there any amazing times of play and creativity? What have you brought forward into the world? What have you created and put out there in the world? What are some of the best accolades you had, either publicly or personally and privately? And who else have you cheered on throughout the year? Who were you really there for when they needed it most? Were there any big surprises? Some amazing opportunities that landed in your lap? And just take a few more minutes to really think about all of the amazing things that have happened in this past year for you, your family, your friends, the world. And when you're ready, we're going to just tap that into our hearts right now. Take a big, deep breath and really feel those feelings. That's the most important. How you're feeling right now in this moment, December 31st, 2024. How do you feel? Tap it into your heart. Do it. Good. And from there, we're going to float back up. We're going to float over to the present moment. Come on back down into your body and open your eyes. Okay, we did a little time travel there. How did that feel for you? I wish I could get your feedback right now, but I want to know from you. Now, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to make those wishes, dreams a reality for this year? After this episode is over, I want you to still keep writing. Write all of the things that came up for you in that little exercise. Where you were, what you were doing, who was around, what you accomplished the previous year, all of the amazing things and opportunities that came your way. Most importantly, I want you to remember the feelings that you felt. Write them down, because as you start to create your year ahead, those are going to be the most important things for you to remember and keep bringing up for you. So the more that we can feel those feelings that we want to feel in the future, the more that we'll have opportunities that will create those experiences for us. Woo! I know that was a little out there, but it's true. So right now, I want to invite you to the next step of this process, for me anyway, which is my digital vision board. I'm going to walk you through exactly how I create my digital vision board every year. No cutting, pasting, magazines, all that messy stuff. I create a digital vision board that I then plaster on my cell phone screen, on my laptop screen, and then I even get one printed out where it sits next to my bed, so I see it every night before I go to sleep and every morning when I wake up. So subconsciously, I'm training my mind to see these images that represent things for me that I want to create in my future, and some things that I already have in my life that I want to magnify or I want to keep in my life, right? So it's a really fun experience. We're going to do a little time travel in that workshop again, but this time I'm going to walk you through exactly what we do next. Okay. Another option, if you are less of a visual person, you're a little less woo-woo maybe, then goal setting is for you, right? Take that vision of what you created for the year and then break it down, go backwards, create from the end, go backwards in time to see how you can then set micro goals or mile markers throughout the year so you can then accomplish those major goals at the end of the year or wherever you set them for yourself. Okay, so reach out. Let me know if you have any questions. please make sure you get on my newsletter list because that's where I'm announcing the dates for the digital vision board and workshop. I also have announced an 8-week program that launches the week of January 15th. It's an 8-week program called Burnout to Badass. And there we're going to be setting up your well-being habits for the entire year. So we're going to be going deep in mindset, mindfulness, meditation, nutrition, movement, and most importantly, sleep. So those 6 pillars are going to be the main thing of the program, but really it's about getting yourself set up into a lifestyle and habits and routines that will last then at least the rest of the year and hopefully throughout your life. Okay, so we're making it a lifestyle. So you never have to do the whole diet at the beginning of the year or hard 75 or any of those things. It's already part of what you do because it is who you are and part of your identity. Okay, so with that said, I hope you'll join me for all of those things. Make sure you get on my newsletter list again. Let me know if you have any questions and if you enjoyed this episode. I want to hear about those visions of yours. I want to know how you're going to be feeling a year from now and how you're going to make that possible. So, my friends, congratulations again on making it through another year. I believe in you. I see you. And I will see you on the other side of it too. Cheers.